Hi, this is Isaac with Solar Cycle, and this is a continuation of the leak issue I had with the bottom of the door. As you can see, the leak continued. However, I think it's a different problem this time. The issue is related to this material right here, which is called the bottom door seal. And if I open the door, you can see that this material is disintegrating, and this type of door seal doesn't really it's like a friction fit on the bottom here, and you can see it's already kind of loose and it's just coming apart only after like a couple years of use. I paid $900 for this door at Home Depot, and it's already kind of disintegrating. So what I need to do, and this is after sealing all these cracks with a combination of epoxy and silicone seal, and it's still well, it's not leaking from these corners. Before, I think just the silicone seal was a little too flexible and a little bit of water was getting in. So that's a combination of epoxy and silicone seal. But I noticed that the water was coming down the door like this and then actually hitting this rubber seal and going inside underneath the basically going through this crack, and water was going underneath this bottom of the door, and then the water was coming out through this side of the door and then coming down, probably going along this crack here, and then coming out this end right here. So what I'm going to do is, the new part should be coming in. I need to remove this whole bottom part of this door and probably do some custom sealing with silicone seal also. And there's no water anywhere else. That's basically, I've sealed everything, so that's the only like sign of moisture was right in this little crack here. So I know this bottom of this door is actually underneath, it's pretty wet. So these types of door seals, they're not great at all because they don't really wrap around the door. So you can see, like, they're just sealing the very bottom of the door, but the new one that I'm going to get is going to wrap around this door and actually cover this surface a little bit here. And if I seal that area with a little bit of silicone seal, that should prevent any water from penetrating to the inside. And that part should be coming in tomorrow, and then I'll install it and then update that. And then it's been rainy these last few days, so I think more rain is going to test it. And I'll update it with the results of that test. This is the continuation of the bottom door seal replacement. And I purchased this door seal, which is called, cinch seal, door under seal. And the difference is it's got this U-channel shape. So I'll show you what it'll do under the door in comparison with what's there now. So see, under the door we have basically kind of a press fit seal that just fits under the door, and I'm going to put this side by side with this U-channel, and this U-channel seal is going to basically wrap around the door. So this one is just only on the bottom. You can see I can even push it out of the way, and it's not going to seal and it's deteriorating. But this U-channel version, it's going to wrap around both sides of the door and create a better seal. And I'm not sure if I have to, but I could even probably put a little bead of silicone so that when the water runs down the surface of the door, it doesn't go into this crack, or any crack like even in here. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to attempt to remove this. I have a little pry bar. I can just kind of pry this out. I guess the water was coming through this gap here and going around and kind of bleeding through the interior of the house. So now I'll take this cinch seal. I guess the way you do it is you just slide this under the door. And I'll probably have to cut off some excess. I'll just do a quick check, see how it closes. So far it seems to close pretty well, so I think I'll just cut off the excess and then continue with the installation. I also forgot, you can use a wooden block to tap this into position. Get it nice and flush. The other end. And now this is the amount I need to trim off. So I just, with the block, I tapped it in a little bit more, and it actually looks like I don't even need to cut the edges off because they seem to just right out of the box. I think this is a 36-inch door. It just goes right up flush to it. So, see how it closes. Oh, so it's caught a little bit right there. So I bet if I just trim that a little bit, maybe even knock it back. Yeah, okay, so I just need to trim a tiny bit off, just hidden slightly. So I finished installing the bottom door seal. So I've just made sure on each side of the door, just left about 1/16 of an inch little gap. And I used tin snips to cut. The instructions say to use like a hacksaw, but tin snips work really well, especially around the corners where it's really thick. It's a lot faster. It didn't leave any burr. And then it slid on really well. I actually don't think I need to use silicone seal. I don't know if you can see, but it's kind of an over mold over hard plastic. There's actual like almost like a windshield wiper rubber on the top and the bottom of this rigid plastic material. And I think this is enough of a seal so the water doesn't come down and go in there. I think this softer rubber on the top of this harder rubber is actually going to create a seal that'll do that. So I'm going to wait till it rains again, and then we can see if this actually works. But it seems to work a lot better. I'll even close the door to show. It's a really tight seal. I actually have to give a little bit of a good push. So it looks good to me. It's actually so tight, it's actually kind of taking off a little bit of this silicone seal that I did there. But a little too, and there's epoxy under here, so it's not going to break that, I don't think. This is just excess silicone. So the next step is just to wait for it to rain again and see if we get the same type of, see, this is where the water came in and kind of puddled it a little bit. So we'll see if this puddle appears again after a hard rain or not. And that will be the final test, and that, I think, will be the final, if it works, the complete water sealing of this door. I mean, with all the work I've done on this door, it's almost like I could have built my own door, but now I know what to look for in quality door materials, whether it's the bottom door seal, the well, the paint's actually coming off here. This is just a side note. It's not part of sealing, but this is I think it's nylon or some other material where paint doesn't really stick to, where this surface is fiberglass, paint sticks to it well. Why they made the trim out of a different material than this material, I don't know, but this is not a good material for trim. So I'm just going to scrape this off and leave it white after this. But all these little details of a door that costs $900, and I'm not sure why the quality was so poor, but here we are trying to deal with it. And this is just a view of the outside of the door showing the seal. And then you can see the idea is the water is just going to kind of go over this little seal here and just come down this side instead of going into the interior. And it looks like it kind of goes underneath this weather stripping. So the idea is it doesn't have a chance to pool and kind of go in that corner. So we'll test it, see if it works as expected. So today I'm going to check on the bottom door seal. Yes, last night there was like a pretty giant rainstorm, so let's take a look. I did take a look at it really quick right now, but I'm pretty sure it worked. Just showing this is the stain is from a previous leak, but it doesn't feel like moist at all. So at both corners, so it doesn't look like any rain came through. We're gonna open it up, and so there's not a lot of evidence of moisture coming through. All this is just streaks from when I just opened the door, but there's nothing really wet along this area. So I don't see any, and then here's just leftover droplets right here. So it looks like the seal that's just kind of friction fit. It's like a hard plastic with rubber and soft rubber edge. seems to do a pretty good job sealing. It looks like the drips are just kind of coming down over the over this lip here and just kind of falling down along this wiper here. So that's a good sign. So I think this works. And if there is any like wear and tear on this bottom door seal, I can simply just pry it off and then pop a new one in. So I'm not sure how this holds up to UV radiation from the sun. It might start cracking, deteriorating over the years. We'll see. But seems like it's easier to replace. Another thing I was thinking is, I'm not sure if most of these exterior type doors are designed to be, you know, just directly kind of like in the elements. I'm wondering if they're more designed for more type of a large overhang type of situation, where there's no direct, like, hitting direct wind-driven rain and sun on the surface. So maybe it requires a little bit more modification for that. But if it's rated as an exterior door, I mean, it should be able to withstand that. But I'm just going to have to modify this door in order to get it properly sealed for this type of harsh environment kind of application. So I think I've solved the problem, and hope this was helpful to people. And if you have any issues like this, maybe doing some type of modification, replacing the bottom door seal, putting epoxy sealant on this corner right here, along with on top put some silicone seal all the way to the interior underneath the weather stripping. And then actually I'll pull this off just to show it. I actually had to pull this weather stripping off, put some sealant all the way in every corner, and then put this weather stripping back on after. And I think all these little steps contributes to this proper sealing of this exterior door.